Good morning. Thank you for, good afternoon, Thank you for joining the session today. My name is Louis Wong. I'm a product manager on the Amazon QuickSight team. And today I'm excited to share some of the new capabilities that we're announcing today called ML Insights, leveraging machine learning to help customers get deeper insights out of their data. And just to recap for those of you who are not familiar with QuickSight, QuickSight is our cloud-powered BI service that makes it easy for customers to deploy BI and insights to everyone in their organizations. And one of our focus is being able to innovate really, really quickly on behalf of our customers. We allow customers to be able to deliver insights to their users, whether it is in the standalone QuickSight application or being able to embed all the analytical capabilities and dashboarding capabilities that we make available in QuickSight directly within your own application. As Andy Jassy mentioned today, AWS has more customers than anybody else using machine learning to analyze your data. And with QuickSight, one of our focus is to be able to leverage machine learning to help customers understand their data. So with QuickSight, we make it easy for customers to connect and analyze all the data that they have on AWS, whether it is in data lake, in our analytics services, or within your database. And customer can also connect QuickSight to their data on-premise. QuickSight is a service that is targeted at everyone in the organization, whether you are just a casual dashboard consumer, a dashboard creator, or a BI engineer or an analyst. If you want to, analyze and slice and dice and pivot your data. And we have a lot of customers that are using QuickSight today. And one of the few reasons that they choose QuickSight, first of all, is because there's no server to manage. QuickSight integrates nicely with all the AWS services where your data resides today. It easily scales whether you are deploying BI to 10 users or 10,000 users. And most importantly, it is really cost-effective with our usage-based pay-per-session pricing model, where customers only pay for what they use. We've launched QuickSight 2 years as a generally available service, and since then we have delivered over 100 features. So we're moving really, really quickly, nearly one feature per week. So some of new features that we recently launched includes dashboard embedding, that allows you to embed QuickSight dashboards and visualizations directly within your application, APIs that allows you to perform programmatic tasks within QuickSight, a lot of security features and capabilities that allows you to manage QuickSight at scale in an enterprise organization. A lot of customers, however, keep telling us that as their volume of data continues to grow, it's starting to get to a point where it is very difficult for them to keep up. And with the manual nature of BI today, it is really difficult for these companies to be able to harness the data to extract business insights. And that's where we believe machine learning and AI can really help. Amazon, as you know, is a pioneer in using machine learning to run the business. And with AWS, we make all of those ML and AI services available for our customers to be able to use. So with ML Insights, we want to make those same capabilities available to QuickSight customers so that they can get more insights out of their data. So today I want to talk about 3 new powerful capabilities that we're announcing. First of all is machine learning powered anomaly detection. And you might be thinking, how does anomaly detection relate to BI, right? Like in most cases, you probably are familiar with anomaly detection on operational monitoring and analytics, with security. But the fact is that anomaly detection is very, very relevant in the business analytics and reporting situation. And I would argue that it is probably even more important. So with ML-powered anomaly detection, we want to help customers uncover the insights that are hidden deep within their data. The second functionality that we're announcing today is ML forecasting. And the name is pretty self-explanatory. But we wanted to make it really, really easy to use so that anybody that is consuming a dashboard that has been shared with them can go and just with a click of a button, being able to get a really good forecast out of their business metrics. And finally, my favorite, auto narratives. being able to tell the story of your data in plain language, in words, right? So that somebody can come to your dashboard, to your application, and immediately read and understand what's going on rather than have to spend a lot of time interpreting the data. So let's start with uncovering hidden insights with ML-powered anomaly detection. We've talked to a lot of customers, and we observed some of the common challenges that customers have when it comes to BI and reporting. First of all, and many of you will probably be very familiar, is that a lot of the really insightful data comes from are hidden within aggregated numbers, right? And this is a problem, especially as customer data continues to grow. You can't really slice and dice your data across all of your customers, across all of your products, or every region and country and city that you operate in. So customers often just stay with aggregated numbers, right? And because the data is growing, you can't afford to really look at all your data, and a lot of times customers just resort to looking at a subset of it. And what happens then is that businesses are just slow to react to business incidents that happen. You might find out things once you do a weekly business review or monthly business review. That's where you sort of tend to detect things are going wrong in your business, and that is just too late. So manual analysis of all that data doesn't scale. There are various anomalous detection tools out there today, but those tools are often targeted at very technical people, like, for example, DevOps, developers, and are not really suitable for BI or business users that QuickSight is designed for. So with ML-powered anomaly detection, we allow customers to be able to analyze their millions of metrics that they have and be able to do it continuously in the background. So a question for the audience here: who has millions of metrics that they are tracking on a regular basis? So for all of those that did not raise your hand, right? So there are very few of you that raise your hand. I want to think about this. You have a metric, like, for example, sales, right? Or page views or orders, whatever. Now, think of splitting that metric across all your customers. Now, you may have a lot of customers, right? Or think about splitting that metric across all the products, all the SKUs, all of the geographical regions that you offer the product. And what you quickly realize is that there's a lot more metrics than you really think you know. So with QuickSight, that's what we allow customers to do, to be able to take a metric like sales, orders, metrics that are common in any BI use cases, and be able to take that and split it out across all of the different dimensions that you have and analyze at a very, very fine granular detail. And then QuickSight will continually run the anomaly detection behind the scenes and alert you and call out unusual patterns that we detect. We don't just call out what happened. We also go one step further by telling you, hey, what are some of the reasons that may be driving that anomalous behavior in your data? And you'll get the emails delivered by alerts. And the nice thing about this is that you don't really need any ML expertise, none at all, actually. Like, we don't expose that anywhere in the product today. It's all point and click, and I'm actually going to walk through how do you create one from scratch later on. So I want to run you through an example here. So with QuickSight machine learning anomaly detection, what you will be able to do is help you identify all the anomalies that are happening within your business. We'll help you discover all the hidden trends. And not just that, but we'll also narrate out what are those anomalies, right? So we'll be able to tell you that, hey, sales and in office supplies for the Asia Pacific region saw a 15% increase above the expected value. So we run not just anomaly detection, but also we'll be able to tell you what was the expected. And then we can tell you, hey, given this anomaly, these are the segments that is driving that anomalous behavior. So in this case, SMB segment was a top contributor to that anomaly. It contributed to 53%, right, of the overall anomaly increase, had a day-to-day change of 30%. And we'll tell you why that is significant. So you'll know that we think that SMB contributed most, not just because it had a 30% day-over-day increase or that it contributed to the overall increase by 53%, but that it typically contributes to the overall sales of 30%, right? So 53 compared to 30, you'll know that, hey, there's something going on there that you can dive deeper and investigate. So that is machine learning powered anomaly detection. Now let's take a look at forecasting. Who in the audience was asked to in the past to, hey, to forecast something in their business? Oh, quite a few of you. Okay. And who loved doing it or thought it was really easy? Okay, great. So, and you're probably very familiar with this, right? So with forecasting today, some of the challenges are, for example, most people use spreadsheets to do forecasting. You build complex models and logic into it that over time just becomes too complex to maintain. And one of the challenges with that is that as you have new data, you need to keep on updating those models, right? And it doesn't learn automatically. And there are various real-world complex situations that you'll not be able to handle. So for example, what happens if there was a bad data or anomalous behavior in your metrics that you don't want to influence your forecast, right? What do you do with it? You need to account for it. What if you have missing data, right, in your data? You have to fill those in. So there's a lot of this, when we think about really simple things that's just supposed to work that doesn't. And a lot of the BI tools today that you see out there, they do provide out-of-box forecasting support, but those tend to be very, very simple and basic. So with QuickSight's ML-powered forecasting, what we're trying to do is provide just very, very easy to use point-and-click forecasting that anybody can do. If you have a QuickSight dashboard that you share with your business users, say a sales executive or a marketing person, they should be able to just pull up a dashboard with a few clicks and get a really, really good forecast. And our algorithm continuously learns from the data, new data that comes in, and adjusts our forecast accordingly. It automatically excludes all the outliers that you have in your data, so you don't want the outliers to influence your forecast. It imputes the missing values. It detects various levels of seasonalities that you may have in your data, so it accounts for them, and then also the overall trend, right? And the coolest thing about that is, again, all point and click, no ML, no spreadsheet needed. So I wanted to show you a real quick example here of two charts. On the left side, you'll see a traditional BI solution, and they're building forecasting. On the right is QuickSight ML-powered forecasting. Reversed. On the right, so with the traditional BI forecasting, you'll see that, hey, it actually does quite a good job of identifying the seasonality. You'll see that there is spikes in every year around March, September, November timeframe, and it captures that. One of the things that you'll see that is missing in the forecast, however, is that the overall trend, relatively stays flat, right? So that is something that is missing. And with QuickSight, you'll see that, it not just captures the seasonality and pattern of the data, but it also captures the trend in the direction that the overall graph is showing. The other thing is I purposely inserted bad data into this data set. So in the January 2013 data point, you'll see that it dips 0. Now, on the traditional BI tool, you'll find that it actually influenced the forecast quite significantly. So the band is much wider, and there's a point in the latest period where the band actually goes very, very low, and that signifies influenced by the bad data. With QuickSight, you'll see that the band is much tighter, and it doesn't get influenced by the anomaly that you see in the chart. And finally, I want to share with you is auto narrative. Again, this is my personal favorite functionality that we're announcing. And I want to tell you a little story. Basically, as product managers in AWS, and we try to innovate on our customers' behalf. And a lot of times, actually, the things that we build may be influenced from within, right? And we may draw inspiration from the pain points that we as product managers run into on a daily basis. So as you can imagine, QuickSight product managers, we're very obsessed about metrics and data. But we find that a lot of times we, as product managers, we spend hours and hours every week staring at our dashboards that we've built, trying to interpret the results, pulling up numbers, doing all those things rather than talking to customer or building cool features. So this is something that we went ahead and tried to build. And we want to address the difficulty in interpretation of various charts and tables and make it really, really easy for anybody who has been shared a dashboard with to be able to just log in, see the data, read through it, and really understand what the dashboard is trying to tell them. And this is all deeply embedded within your dashboard. So you don't need to go to another tool to see that or another document or integrate with third-party applications that do similar things. And it's super easy to get started, so there's no coding requirements there. It's all point and click, and we have templates that allows customers to be able to build this within minutes. So this is what it looks like, right? A dashboard, you'll see that. Hey, there's some differences in familiarity with what a lot of customers do today. So for example, you still see charts like the line charts, bar charts, and tables, but now they take a more supporting role, right? Rather than being the main thing in what customers consume. And then the real cool stuff are these texts that are automatically generated, updated as your data is updated, so that an executive, when they land your dashboard, they can read that and know exactly what's going on. And all deeply integrated within the QuickSight experience. So with that, I wanted to show you a couple demos, and we have a lot to cover. So let's get going. Let me switch. All right. So here is a pre-built dashboard that I've prepared for this session. This is what I showed you in the slides before. You'll see the natural language aspect is very, very much deeply integrated within the dashboard experience. You can see, hey, what the daily revenue looks like, what the year-to-date revenue is on the bottom, like top and bottom movers by product. How does it compare to goals? On the right side here, you'll see, hey, daily revenue forecast that narrates out to you, hey, what is the expected revenue by end of the year? How does it compare to your goals? And a nice little supporting visual that communicates that in a visual way. The really cool part that I want us to talk about first is anomaly detection. These two tiles here are automatically generated using our ML-powered anomaly detection. So here you'll see, hey, there was, for baby products in Russia on November 22nd, the revenue was lower expected, or that there was a particular customer who generated higher than expected sales. So what a user could do, so there would be somebody that is consuming the dashboard that many of you will be building, is click on this and then go to Explore Anomalies. And here, what QuickSight will show you is all of the metrics, all of the sales broken down by combination of the products that you're selling, the countries where you're selling it to, and show it all to you in a really easy consumable view. So these are anomalies for November 22nd, right? And if you scroll down, you'll see all of these metrics. So the first one, for example, is baby products in Russia. You'll see increasing sales trends for office supplies in Brazil or software in the US. And so visually makes it really easy for people to spot unexpected trends and patterns in their data. The other really cool thing that you can do is click on the Show Anomalies by Date. So this is a little time picker that we added. And each of these bars represent the number of anomalies that were identified for the day. So for example, you can click through like November 12th to see, hey, what are the anomalies that happened on November 12th or November 1st, for example, and see historical anomalies as well. The other thing that you can do is you can filter. So I can say, hey, I want to filter and see anomalies just for automotive. I actually don't know if there are any. There is, right? So it calls it out here for that particular day. And what you can also do is, let me go back to November 22nd. Depending on your business, higher than expected, lower than expected may be a good or a bad thing, right? So for example, if you're looking at sales, higher than expected is good. You may not care about it. If you're looking at things like, for example, how many customers are contacting your customer service, right? Increasing can be a bad thing, so you may want to just focus on that. So with here, what you'll be able to do is filter on that directionality as well. So filter by higher than expected. We'll show you everything that we found was higher than expected or lower than expected. And you can also adjust like the threshold in terms of significance of anomalies. So you can choose it to be very high, high, medium, low, depending on how sensitive you want the algorithm to be. So for example, if you choose very high, you'll only see anomalies that are very, very significant in the data. And all of these time series that you see here are automatically ranked and sorted so that the most significant things appear on the top. Another example that I wanted to show you is, so let's take a look at the callouts from this particular customer. We'll go to Explore. And let's say, you saw, hey, this customer generated a new high of sales of $60,000. If you want to know, hey, what could have driven that, you can click on this data point and analyze the contributions. You can select product, for example, as a dimension, and if you click Analyze, QuickSight will now tell you, hey, what are the product categories that have contributed to that particular spike? So in this example, clothing contributed to 95% of that particular anomaly. And you see on the screen, you'll realize that it contributed 95% of that increase day over day, right? That's unexpected. But it typically actually only contributes to 80% of the total purchase by that customer. So you know that, hey, this customer made a brand new purchase on these set of categories, right? So you can, it gives you immediate insights and key drivers that have driven that anomaly detection. So that is anomaly detection. Now, what I want to do is actually show you how to create all of this from scratch, right, and show you how easy it is. So I've prepared here a demo data set. This is very similar to the one that is powering this dashboard. So you have fields like from the date, geo, product category, revenue, and so on. So very basic, a simple data set. And let me go ahead and add a visualization here. So this is a graph, and now I can start choosing the things that I want to visualize. So I'm going to look at sales by date. So this is a revenue by date. So you have a nice time series here. You can zoom in. By default, it aggregates it today. And now what you want to do is you want to be able to run anomaly detection on this. Not just this particular metric, but again, like I showed you earlier, the split of these sales by country, by product categories, right? So you can click on the Insights tab that I have here. And what you'll see is QuickSight automatically, without you having to do anything really, looks at your data and then calls out a number of different what we call suggested insights. So these are insights about the visualization that you are looking at now. So you calls out like what the highest day is, what the day over day change is, what the growth rate looks like, anomalies as well, and it automatically does forecasting for you. So one of the callouts that you see right at the top here is add anomaly to sheet. So this allows me to set up a contribution analysis, anomaly detection workflow. And it operates very, very similarly to how you would create visualizations in QuickSight, right? So this tile that you see here is what we call an insights card or an insights widget. So now you have the time, the metric. You can start adding dimensions to it. So I'll add geo as a category that I want to split by, and then also the product category. So I have 2 dimensions within this insight card, and I can get started. Here, the primary thing they wanted to do is set up the schedule. And the other thing is with anomaly detection, if your data is hierarchical, for example, country, state, city, or product category, subcategory down to the SKU level, by default, we run anomaly detection on a hierarchical way, which means that we will run it on all combinations in a hierarchical manner. So if your categories are A, B, C, we'll run anomaly detection on A and B, and A and B and C. You also, if your data is not hierarchical, you can select this checkbox that allows you to analyze all combinations. So we'll also do B and C, A and C, B individually or C individually. So we're really processing a lot of data. So in this case, these are sort of not really hierarchical, right? Because you may not be selling products in one region, you may be selling products in another region. So let me just check and analyze all combinations. Because my data is aggregated daily, I can choose day here, but you can choose to run hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on the granularity of your data. And I'm just gonna click OK. So now the insights is configured, and I can click Run now. The schedule applies when you publish this analysis as a dashboard for people. That is when the schedule will kick in and run it on a recurring basis based on the schedule that you've defined. So here I'm going to click Run now. It may take a few minutes for this complete, depending on how big your data is. But what we've seen is even for millions and tens of millions, hundreds of millions of rows, it should be done within an hour. So, but this one is a smaller one, so it should be done in a few minutes. So while it is doing that, let me show you something else. So going back to the visualization here, you can also create those natural language narrative widgets that I just showed you in the dashboard. The way you would do that is very easy. You can actually you don't need to create something from scratch. You can actually take one of these that you see here that you may want to build upon and just add it directly to the sheet. So let's say I'm interested in day-over-day change. I can click on this Add button, and then it'll immediately add a insights widget. There we go. Right, and I can resize this. So now this automatically narrates, the insights. Let me just format this to currency so that it presents better. And then you can also choose, for example, how many decimals you want. Let me resize this as well. Yeah, let me show you real soon. So let's say that this is the layout that I want, right? Then what I can do is I can click on the menu, and then I can click Customize Narrative. And what you'll see is we'll provide a UI way for you to be able to craft the language, and by default here it is already populated. We provide a number of different variables and computations that you can use and insert into your narrative. If you have parameters in your dashboard, you can insert those as well, or you can leverage our extensing functions to be able to add more business logic into the narratives. So I want to walk you through adding something beyond just this day-over-day thing. So let's say you want to look at what the growth rate is for your business, right? The way you would do that is click on Add Computation, and we provide a number of pre-built computations that you can easily pick from. So I can say, hey, I want to look at growth rate, and I want to look at for the last 14 periods, so the last 14 days. I'll click Add. And now I can just start appending what I want to say in the right side here. So you'll notice that in addition to period as a computation, I also have growth rate as a computation. So I can say growth rate for the last, right? And then because I set the last 14 periods, you can actually choose a time period here, click on it, and it adds that as a variable. For last 14 period is, and then I'm just going to choose the growth rate value here. And you have the option to choose between formatted values and raw values. If you choose raw value, you can add more metrics math to it. So I'm just going to choose formatted value, and I'm going to click Apply. So notice that now it says growth rate for the last 14. Oh, I forgot days. Let me go back here. For the last 14 days is 0.015%. So, okay. Now, let's do something a little bit more sophisticated. Let's say you want to add some conditional statement to say, hey, if growth rate is more than 1%, you want to say, great job. If growth rate is less than 1%, you want to say, we need to do better. You can easily use our conditional if statement here, or we also put like for statement if you want to loop through like what are the top 10 customers, you can do that. So let me add an if here and say if growth rate is, the raw value of growth rate is greater than 1, you can say good job. And then you can add another one. If value is less than 1, we need to do better. And then you can also like leverage our formatting toolbar here to format this however you want. So you can bold it, you can color it. So I'm going to make good job green. I'm going to make, we need to do better, red. Okay. All right, you click apply. And, okay, and then you'll see, hey, we need to do better because growth rate was less than 1%, right? So you can imagine using these computations, functions, parameters, conditional statement. You can actually create pretty sophisticated narratives around your data and make those immediately available to your end users. Now, okay, I see the anomaly detection has finished running. You'll see that it says, hey, an anomaly was detected on November 17, 2018, right, where outdoors products in Saudi Arabia was higher than expected. So that is all it took for me to create an anomaly detection job that runs every hour, every day, or every week, right? So it's very, very simple. And as I've shown you earlier, you can click on Explore Anomalies and be able to see what are all the anomalies that happened for that particular day. So here you go, right? So all the anomalies for that day. And again, you'll be able to go back in time to see what's going on. See how it calls out the different spikes. So these are things that if you're in the BI team today, you know that how time-consuming it is to be able to build something like that in terms of identifying all the anomalies that happens across all of your different metrics. And human just doesn't scale. That's where machine learning really can help customers scale out their BI. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you is with forecasting, right? So here I already have a time series data. And how would I go about creating a forecast? Well, it turns out it's pretty simple. Just click on the menu and say Add Forecast. So now the machine learning algorithm is running and is generating, based on all the historical data that's available in that time series, generating a forecast for you. You'll see on the left side that there's a couple different options that made available for you. So for example, you can choose how many periods you want to forecast forward. So I can set 60 days, right? You have periods backward, and this requires a little bit of explaining. So period backward really means, hey, I want to backcast my data so that I can compare the forecast against the actual, right? So it gives you confidence of how well or not the forecast is doing. So here I can set, let's look at the last 14 days, actually. Let's look at the last 30 days. You have some options like prediction intervals, which defines, hey, how wide or narrow you want the confidence band to be. And then we automatically also detect the seasonality for you, which you can see from the forecasting result. But if you want to customize that, you can set different seasonalities as well. And let me apply that. And then it'll give you a forecast for the next 60 days. You'll notice that as time goes on, the band becomes wider, right? That's expected as more forward-looking you are, the less uncertainty there is. But you also look at the historical part, and this is where it's really interesting because you'll notice that there was this anomaly here for November 1st. There was a spike, but you don't see that anywhere in the forecast, right? Except for the first point here, the backcast, you'll see that there was, QuickSight thought that, that would be a normal thing that happened because it was most recent. And it expected that it'll spike, but it didn't. So the algorithm may automatically adjust and remove that forecast, that outlier in the future. The other cool thing that you can do, let me show you this. So the challenge with forecasting is also a lot of times there may be expected things that you know will happen in the future. So for example, you may expect that you are closing a deal in the next several months, right? And you want that to be reflected in your forecast, but you want to keep like all of the pattern intact. So one thing that you can do with our ML forecasting is you can do what we call a what-if analysis. And the way you do what-if analysis is by, let me just reload this thing real quick, is by just clicking on a particular point. So let's say I select December 20. I can click on that and then click what-if analysis. And now what we allow you to do is basically adjust the forecast however you want. So I can say for that particular point, I think that our target is going to increase, right, from 12 million, let's say, to 13 million, because we expect a deal to be closing really soon. I can apply that, and what you'll see is that the algorithm automatically adjusts the forecast to that particular point, but keeping the trend, the seasonality, all intact, right? So that makes it really easy for you to be able to forecast your business. And if you hover a data point, it provides a nice little comparison between what the original forecast looked like and what the what-if looks like. And then, of course, with this data, you can add it to a dashboard. You can, share it with all of your users, and they can also adjust this on their own and play around with it. You can also export this as CSV. So if you want to export this as CSV and then use it in other places, you can do that as well. So let me go back here. Let me show you something else here. So let's go back to anomaly detection. One thing that I've missed mentioning is I want to look at, let's say, here you go. So here's a good example. Here we show you that, hey, there was anomaly detected for all school supplies on November 17th. What if you wanted to know, hey, which particular products contributed most to it? Which particular countries, regions that sold it contributed most to it? As I've shown you earlier, you can click on this and then choose Analyze Contribution. And here I can choose Geo, click Analyze. And now QuickSight will tell me, oh, so sales in the US contributed pretty much all to the anomaly, whereas it typically contributes half of all school supply sales. All of that increase that you see here going from, let's see, $10,000 to $13,000 to $3,000 increase all came from the US, right? So that allows your users to be able to really get into that detail of what is driving the behavior that you see. All right, so that is the demo, and let's switch back to the presentation. So a lot of the capabilities that I just showed you there, especially anomaly detection, is actually quite compute intensive. When you set up an anomaly job and it's running hourly or daily, we actually have a fleet of servers behind the scene that is continually crunching the number based on the schedule that you set. And because it adds a lot of cost to QuickSight, naturally there's a pricing associated with it. So forecasting and the auto narrative part are free of use. But with anomaly detection, we're charging just like any other AWS service and like our pay-per-session pricing. It is usage-based pricing model, so there is no upfront cost that you need to commit to, no long-term commitment, and it is priced based on the dollars per 1,000 metrics processed. So let me give you an example. If you are selling products, you have, let's say, 50 products that you sell, right? And you sell them in 10 different countries. And let's just say that you sell all the products in all of those countries. Then 50 times 100 times 10 would be 500. So you have 500 metrics. And then if you run it on a daily basis for a month, right, you'll be running it 30 times, right? So then you'll multiply 500 times 30, right, equals 15,000, right? So that'll be the number of metrics that you'll be metered and billed on. The first, as you scale the number of metrics within QuickSight, you also get a really nice discount there. So for 15,000 metrics, we'll be billing on a 50 cents per metric basis, per metric process basis. So I also wanted to share, we have a lot of customers that we have been piloting and testing this out with us because it is machine learning. One of the things we want to make sure is that it works really well. We have been spending a lot of times, our engineer and data scientists, to make sure that we reduce the noise, reduce the false positives, false negatives. So we've been working with various different customers to test this out. And today it is going to be made available as a public preview for everyone. One of the customers that I'd really like to share is Daiso. Who of you know what Daiso does? Yeah, so they are a Japanese retailer, but operating at a global level. They have 5,000 stores, 70,000 items. And the challenge with them is that they typically, for their BI team, they typically know what the best-selling products are, right? So they look at, like any other business, what their top 10 products are, what their top 10 stores are, what their top 100 products are, top 100 stores are. But beyond that, most of the business users don't have visibility into anything else. So with QuickSight's ML-powered anomaly detection, this allows them to run anomaly of sales across all of the 5,000 stores, all the 70,000 products that they sell, and really identify, for example, what are the products that may not be a star right now, but has high potential in the future, right? So that is one of the things that machine learning anomaly detection could add to customer. It allows them to look at all the products and be able to detect these trends and unexpected patterns early on. So that is primarily what I wanted to share today. The other thing I want to call out is that we have various related sessions of QuickSight going on in reInvent this year. So yesterday we announced dashboard embedding. Who is aware that we announced dashboard embedding? Nobody. Well, OK, so glad I mentioned it. So this allows you to embed dashboards within your own application so that if you wanted to share insights with your own customers in your own portal, you don't need to spend a lot of resources and development to do it. You can just leverage QuickSight, all point-and-click design of the dashboard, and then just embed it into your application as an iframe. So we're doing a demo of that later this afternoon at the Venetian Expo Hall. So if you're interested, do head over there. And then on Friday, we have a couple of really significant customers coming and talking about how they are using QuickSight. So one of the customers is NFL. They are using QuickSight embedded dashboards within their own NetGen stat applications to provide all the NFL club members, the broadcaster, to be able to access game stat on demand. And then also Forward Safety, which is using QuickSight to deploy reports across tens of thousands of users at Rio Tinto. So they're going to talk about their use case there as well. So finally, as I mentioned earlier, preview is available starting today. If you're interested in trying it out, we'd love to hear your feedback. So just head to aws.amazon.com/QuickSight, sign up for the preview, and you should be whitelisted pretty shortly. So thank you very much for attending. I think we have a couple more minutes. Is there any questions that you have? Yes?
The anomaly detection, can it also handle missing data?
Yes. So our algorithm for both forecasting and anomaly detection uses a very similar algorithm, but designed differently. So in both anomaly detection and forecasting, we automatically deal with missing data for you and seasonality and so on. So yes, it does handle that.
How do you expose that missing data to the anomaly?
So we automatically impute the missing values. So for example, if you have a time series, right, that has been stable and over time and somehow it dropped to 0, right? A lot of time that implies bad data, right, or missing data. So we would call that out as an anomaly within our tool. Yes?
So a few things. One is yourself are determining the outliers based on certain standard deviations. I consider my outliers maybe 5 standard deviations out, like
Yeah.
away from the mean itself, right? And your model might be something. Is there a way to adjust the outliers based on some kind of input from the user itself?
Yeah. So the question is, can you adjust the standard deviation of what it means to be an outlier? And this is actually a really, really good question that I want to spend some time with, is that traditional anomaly detection mechanism, it leverages that, right? It says, hey, how much is my data deviating from the norm? But that is actually not what we're trying to do here. So we don't necessarily look at the standard deviation away, for example, from the mean or the average of what the typical metric is. What the algorithm is trying to actually do is detect unseen patterns before. Okay? So if you have seen an unseen pattern, a new pattern that the algorithm has never seen before, it will detect that as an anomaly. Now, there are adjustments that you can make in terms of how sensitive that anomaly detection is. One of the things which is what I just showed you before, you can set up significance thresholds. So you can choose between you want it to be more sensitive, then you set it at low, or you want it to be less sensitive, you set it at high. So that is a knob that we provide that allows customers to be able to adjust the anomaly detection algorithm. But it is not about thresholding, which many of you know. As you start adding this threshold logic to your anomaly detection job, over time, it just becomes unmanageable, right? So that is where QuickSight's ML-powered anomaly detection really adds value to our customers. Yes?
What kind of algorithms is using behind the scenes?
So we're taking algorithm that we have developed within Amazon to do this. It is an ensemble method. If you're interested in learning more about the details of the anomaly detection algorithm, happy to share with you after the session. Yes?
In future, would there be a capability to tweak the ML model that's running under the hood? Or would it be possible that if we come up with a customized ML model, would we be able to integrate directly through QuickSight, or would we have to connect this to SageMaker and then do it?
So great question. So the question is, can I bring in my own model for anomaly detection? That is something that we have discussed, right? So what we're launching today is sort of think of it as our V1 of the product. We're gonna, after we announce this, I'm sure we're gonna hear a lot of really good feedback from customers. And if we hear a lot of demand for being able to bring in your own custom models or integrate with SageMaker, that might be something that we do. Yes?
So for the time series, can you define how far you can go back?
Great question. So the question is, for time series, can you define how much time it can go back? And the answer is yes. So, and you can do this all within QuickSight. For example, if you're looking at daily sales, you can filter your data set by looking at the last year, last 2 years, last 3 years. All those filters that you define within QuickSight are automatically respected. The one thing to note is that we do require, for example, for anomaly detection, at least 40 points of data, because the algorithm needs some input, right, to be able to understand the seasonality and pattern. So 40 points. So for example, if you're looking at daily data, you'll need probably 40 days. If you're looking at hourly data, roughly a little bit more than a day, right, 2 days. And we will look at maximum the last 1,000 points. So for daily data, that comes up to around a little bit more than 3 years or less than 3 years.
What's your preferred method of feedback on the product?
Great question. So once you sign up for the preview, we are going to start whitelisting customers to try it out. You'll get instructions in terms of how to get started, and also instruction around if you have any feedback, how do you provide it to the product team so that we can work with you to address it. Yes?
When do you expect this to be GA?
It depends, right? Primarily we're releasing these so we can get a lot of feedback. I think hopefully in the next 2-3 months we're trying to get this more broadly available to all customers. Yes.
Can QuickSight provide some insights into customer reviews?
Customer reviews, like for example text analytics.
Yeah.
Great question. We actually had a number of different workshops over reInvent that actually walk through customer in terms of leveraging QuickSight, various our database services, as well as our AI services like, for example, Comprehend, Amazon Translate, to be able to build an end-to-end solution that allows customers to, for example, get sentiments of customer review, extract key entities. In fact, if you drop by our booth at the Expo Hall, we have actually built a social media analytics dashboard that looks at all the tweets about AWS that has been going on during reInvent, and then running things like, for example, sentiment analysis, entity extractions to tell users like what are the hot topics that are happening at reInvent, are the feedback positive or negative. So if you're interested, do check that out. I have a question for everybody, actually. So who find this interesting or see a use case that they can apply this on? Wow, great. Good to hear. So make sure you go to our website and sign up for the preview, and we'll get you guys whitelisted to try it out real soon. Any other questions?
I have one actually.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the questions like, I have is with respect to forecasting.
Yeah.
Continuously forecasting your data. Is there a way to baseline your forecast? For example, my beginning of year, I want to be baselining my forecast, and then I want to see my actuals, and then I want to see my forecast again 6 months down the line, if it is changing or not.
So let me make sure I understand. So you want to be able to baseline your forecast in the sense of comparing actuals to everything that's happened now?
When I build my forecast, I'm not building my forecast on a daily basis, right? This forecast is typically done on a quarterly or a yearly basis, on a periodic basis.
Okay.
Typically at the end of year or beginning of year, I really forecast.
Yeah.
Right? And then I really like to track my actuals.
Yeah.
Then I want to see my forecast after 6 months.
Yeah.
A new forecast.
Yeah.
Right? So do I have capabilities through which I can baseline my forecast?
Yeah.
See my actuals against the baselines.
Yeah.
And then again come up with a new baseline down the line in some future period.
Great question. So the question is, can I baseline my forecast at the beginning of a quarter or month, right, and then compare to actuals, and then for future, I want to use the forecasting, right? So yes, you can do that. The way you would do that is generate, so I've showed you the backcasting capability, right? That allows you to basically generate a forecast in the past, assuming that none of that data exists, right? So you can do that, generate a forecast, and then visualize it, and then create a visualization that compares that particular forecast to the actual, and then also forecast the actual going forward. So you can do that within QuickSight. I think I missed somebody on the back there, the last gentleman. Yeah. Sorry, it's very difficult for me to see anything right now. Like the lights are just.
Automate the cost like of the services and go into QuickSight, which can forecast and also do something.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I think the question is, can you run anomaly detection and forecasting on your AWS spend? Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. So we actually have a lot of customers that are using QuickSight to track their spending and build a dashboard that provides it to all the application owners within the organization to do that. So yeah, this is a really good use case for it. In fact, earlier this week, we just spoke to a number of different customers that saw an immediate use case of using anomaly detection. So you'll be able to see like, hey, which application within your AWS environment are having unexpected surges in spending or dip, right? Like which, not just application, but which AWS account, which tags that you have set up, right? And also being able to forecast the expected spending into the future. So that's a really good question, really good use case if you want to use QuickSight for spend analytics.
And also one thing.
Sure.
Is there a way you can automate it instead of customers going and building it by themselves?
Automate in what sense?
Creating the dashboards for the services and the cost.
I see. So that's something that we have been thinking a lot about. Is there a way that given that QuickSight is part of AWS services, is there a way that when you come to QuickSight, you get automatically a pre-built spend analytics dashboard? Great feedback. We'll definitely look into that. Yes.
Can you subscribe to alerts for the anomaly detection so you don't have to
Yes, you definitely can. We will, whenever we detect anomalies, we'll send you email alerts to begin with, right? That states what the anomaly is that we have detected and also what are the top contributors to anomalies. You'll get a link in the email that allows you to then click through and land on the dashboard that I just showed you with all the details that you can access. Yes?
Do you programmatically create dashboards? Do you have an API that like generate a dashboard?
So we actually just announced a set of APIs that allows you to programmatically provision QuickSight accounts, users, create data sets, and the ability to programmatically stamp out dashboard analysis is now a roadmap. Stay tuned the next couple of 2 or 3 months. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
What kind of data sources we can use to feed into this whole dashboard? And
Yeah, any data source that QuickSight supports today. So you can connect QuickSight to S3 and pull objects directly from S3 to QuickSight. You can connect to Athena to run SQL queries on top of S3. You can connect to all of the different RDS engines that we support, whether it is Aurora, MySQL, Postgres, MariaDB. You can connect to EMR if you have. What else do we support? Redshift, right?
Outside Databricks, anything outside AWS, for example?
Yes, so you can connect QuickSight to, like for example, Teradata, if it is on-prem or in the cloud. We support also third-party commercial engines like Snowflake that you can connect to, Salesforce applications, Excel, Jira, ServiceNow.
and one more. So I have tons of PDF files. Is that possible we put into S3 and we can read from there?
Did I hear PDF files? We'll have to look into that and see. Happy to chat offline and understand how do we convert the PDF file. But actually, you know what? AWS today just announced, great question, AWS just announced, Andy Jassy announced this at the keynote, is the ability to actually parse PDF files. So yeah, so do look into that. Once you have the PDF files interpreted, right, and into a structured format that QuickSight can understand, then we can certainly analyze it. Yeah, I remember that they announced that today, yeah. Yes?
Alerts notification over the email, like API or some pops up right now?
Yeah, so email is what we started with for the preview, but do expect more programmatic ways to consume it. We know a lot of customers want to be able to consume this potentially as SNS, maybe like Slack notifications as well. So there are things that we're exploring there. Yes?
So since you are really in control of the algorithms, the projection or the forecast that I have, would it always be a deterministic forecasting? Or can it change over a period of time given that we change the algorithm from the behind actually, right?
Right. So the question is, will the algorithm change over time? I think it will, in the sense that, obviously we'll continue. Part of the point of the preview is to help us improve our algorithm, right? So we're going to be constantly optimizing it, right, to reduce false positive, false negatives in the algorithm. Now, is it deterministic? The answer is no, and the reason is that that's just the nature of ML and the data. So let me give you an example. If you were to identify a spike, right, in your data today, and then a month from now, right, let's say on the first of the month, you see a spike, and then in the subsequent month, you see a spike. At some point, QuickSight will say, hey, I've seen that 2-3 times already, right? It seems to be a norm, right? And I'll stop calling it out as an anomaly because it's just an expected pattern.
That's a data pattern, right?
Yeah.
Data pattern is still a deterministic pattern, right? I'm talking about more from a logical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The logic of the algorithm changes means you do not have a deterministic output from your forecasting engines, right?
All right. Yeah, happy to chat line. I think we are going to be, improving our algorithm at least in the next several months, right? But yeah, I think you would expect some improvement. I mean, the question is, do you want? This is actually something we've been discussing with the customer last night. Is do you want your let's say we identify an improvement that will reduce the number of false positive or negative, right? Do you want the results to be
changing on a day-over-day basis or a month-over-month basis, right? If I have a forecast
Mhm.
from the beginning of the year to the end of the year as 10% increase,
Yeah.
and then you change the algorithm automatically, somehow it becomes 12% or 13%.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Yeah. I think this is a good feedback and something that we'll need to think about a little bit more and make trade-off, right? Do we want to improve the algorithm or get a better forecast, right, given that you have new data, or do you want to stay the same, right? But there are things that we can. I mean, this is preview, so I think that feedback is taken, and we'll certainly look into it. All right, last one.
When you detect anomalies to forecast different products, so can you target these to different users, set up that configuration? So you don't want to send anomalies to someone that can't access.
Yes. So what I showed you was setting up, one job, right, that analyzes everything. One of the options that you have is being able to set up multiple different jobs, right, and apply filters to it, so that then when you build a dashboard and you share with a group of users, they only see the anomalies that were for what is relevant for them, right? So you can sort of like make that separation. The other thing that your users will be able to do is when you share a dashboard with them, they will be able to go into a dashboard and also say, hey, I want to subscribe to these anomalies as emails when they are detected. So they will be able to do that themselves as well. All right, thank you very much. If you have additional questions, I think we may have a few more minutes beside it.